Ladies and gentlemen, order at the court. Today's proceedings finds the people versus James McGill.
Legal troubles got you down? Bosses refusing the payout? Hit and run leave you stunned? Drug lords in your future? Maybe not. Because he'll get your case dismissed. He'll get you the defense you deserve. But only if you say the words.
Oh no, I need legal representation. Whatever shall I do? What do I say? Oh wait, I know.
Better Call Saul.
So without further ado, let's begin judging Saul. Court is now in session.
You will atone.
All right, Dragon. Oh my God, so much to get to. Let's just get to the credits already. Jesus, we have to unpack so much. Just who wrote and directed the episode, Dragon? Quick, pronto.
We're in finale mode, folks. Okay. Yeah, this is directed by showrunner Peter Gould. Of course, some episodes that he has directed. Marco, the season finale of... he's actually done a couple season finales.
Of course, Dragon. Hold on really quick. We better say the name of the episode. The episode is...
God, this is what happens when you rush us in.
I'm sorry. We're in finale mode, Dragon. I'm sorry. The episode is called Something Unforgivable.
That's what you are. Anyway. Okay. So yeah, Something Unforgivable. This is directed by Peter Gould, showrunner extraordinaire, the man who coined the famous Swiss egg Fabergé watch analogy. He's directed a few season finales, such as Marco from the first season, which is really good, and Lantern, which is massive. And the tomes of Better Call Saul, of course, the big Chuck fate of it all. All right. So this was co-written by Peter Gould, also kind of getting in there. Peter Gould this season, he had done Magic Man, which has a full circle payoff to this one, and had done Winner, which again, another full circle payoff to this one. So he co-wrote this with a newcomer, Ariel Levine. So Ariel Levine, what she has done is she worked on the supplemental stuff. She worked on Pollos Hermanos. Yeah. She worked on the Pollos Hermanos training video stuff and the magical security training video. She had done that, and she'd been a writing assistant pretty much through the whole run, or at least through I want to say season 3 onward, hence the videos. The point while she's doing that, she's assisting the writer's room. So she's been in there, and she's like, "Is her big break with Gould himself, man?"
Yeah, what a break it is, man. I mean, it's I would say, Dragon, this is a chess piece of a finale. It's definitely one of those finales where it's moving things into place very slowly. But it's like a Bobby Fischer chess match, man. It's an intense chess match. It's like we're moving the pieces into place, but we're doing so in such a captivating way.
That we are.
All right.
All right, let's break it down.
Dragon, believe it or not, I do have one minor, tiny nitpick at the start. It's not anything major, but, we don't really get a cold open in the most definitive of terms, where we start exactly where we left off.
Yeah.
I'm just saying we could have had like a flashback or I don't know, like something fun.
Look, you know what? I'm gonna say this. You know what? They know we have the audience they're on the edge of their seats from last week. They gotta know what happens next. Like, oh God, what's gonna happen next? And they're playing into it a little bit. I'm gonna extend a little bit of credit there.
All right, fair enough.
Right,
it's very Breaking Bad season 4.
There you go. All right. So, which again, oddly, I have kind of a little Breaking Bad season 4 analogy a little later on. So maybe keep that in your back pocket. So.
Okay.
So we start off with the peephole shot, which essentially is, again, Kim looking through the peephole, which, again, a lot of kind of eyes looking through little holes from last episode, with Kim looking through the bullet hole and Lala looking through the other bullet hole.
Oh, yeah.
As it were, and kind of our link up to the Bad Choice Road ending that had America on the edge of their seats, like, oh, please don't kill Kim, please! Which was us, too. So. So so we're right at the moment where Nacho and Lalo are leaving, and this, Jimmy is checking in with Mike, who again was on the other line during that entire, heart racing scene. And speaking of which, just to kind of chime in here, Mike.
We love Mike for the final time this season.
Yes. Folks, I mean, we state it so often. It's like an advent calendar, man. We like to kind of appropriate it as such. It's a little advent calendar, as if they're like a box of kind of Ermintrout brand chocolate, man.
My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates because it's sweet and then it goes bad.
Exactly. So, life's just a big game of Candyland. Anyway, so the fact of the matter is, folks, we adore not only Jonathan Banks, the actor, but the character he brought to life, and we like to kind of commemorate it with kind of the visual image you see before you here. And this year, we kind of blend a little bit of Valentine's Day meets I Love Lucy, given that the season started in February. That was kind of our mindset, and things are what they are, and again, it's a little advent calendar, like little kind of bingo marker per episode of Mark Ermintrout Love on a heart-shaped kind of effigy, if you will. Okay, so point being, Mike calls in. Mike, hey, he's never far from our hearts. In this case, not far from the scene, even when he's not in the room. So on the phone, Jimmy's saying, "Did you hear that?" And he says, "I heard enough to know she saved your hide."
Oh, yeah.
Which is true, and again, our theory, and again, based on the Tom Schnauz of it all, kind of confirmed that there's a very, very good chance Mike isn't there to save Jimmy's bacon. And accurately, he's like, if Jimmy says one wrong move, which I'm of the mindset, I think Jimmy was about to spill the beans to Lala before Kim stepped in, Mike probably would have had to shoot all three of them.
Why'd you have to go and spill your beans?
Loose lip shit. Loose lip singers. We need a season 6. Don't get any ideas.
Oh, God.
Anyway. So point being, very, very tense scene. Again, Mike being kind of periphery. Again, Jimmy has no idea how dangerous that scene was, knowing that Mike was out there with his sniper. I mean, he may have had a general idea, well, man, he was really on point last time I was in a jam like this, so he's not 100% sure. So, but regardless, point being, Mike, he's asking Mike, okay, what happens next? And Mike just says, very cryptically, we'll see. Which is not what Jimmy wants to hear right now.
That really peeves Jimmy off. It's like, okay, this guy, man, this guy.
Oh, yeah. So then, just kind of long story short, Jimmy gives Kim the full story about episode 8. Basically recaps the full kind of the stuff he left out from Bagman and basically what he left out in the Lalo kind of story from last episode about the ambush, the shootout, and how Mike saved Jimmy's life, etc. And oh my goodness, Ray Seahorn's performance is facially she has two
anti-Skyler.
You got that right. Of course, truth laid out in front of her here. She doesn't, she doesn't do like she doesn't play. She doesn't give him the silent treatment. She doesn't kick him out of the house. Oh my God,
Walt! How dare you get attacked by dangerous men against your own will?
Yep, she's not doing this half-hazard. I'll call the cops on him, knowing I can't really turn him in. None of that stuff. So, not insulting that scene, because again, Officer Saxton's really good in that scene. Anyway, so getting back on point. So Ray Seahorn, she has two scenes in this episode, just with her facial performance alone, that just are gobsmackingly great. I mean, you have this scene, but later on, oh my goodness, and the big climax of things when just Kim's face is like on the screen, my goodness, like really great reactionary performances played on the Jimmy here. So what Ray Seahorn's doing here, and like the support that she lays out here, like they're on the same page 100%. And basically with this moment, Jimmy fully admits, okay, well, after that Lalo scene from last episode, Kim, whether I like it or not, she's in the game, and if she's in the game, I gotta give her all the information. I gotta inform her of the strategy, as it were. All right. So after that, basically the two of them, a really great smash cut too, like what they're gonna do now. So they check into a really nice hotel, by the way. And Albuquerque has some really nice hotels.
Man, I tell you, you know me and good hotels and Travel Dragon. Yeah. I was kind of jealous, especially during lockdown mode. I'm like, son of a bitch, I want to go to a hotel like this and order room service. That sounds nice. I mean, granted, having the looming threat of the cartel isn't so nice, but still, Take advantage of the situation while you can.
I love in the grand scheme of things. Ultimately, it takes a cartel threat to get Jimmy McGill and Kim Wexler to go on their honeymoon. I think it's hysterical when you think about it that way.
That's funny. I didn't even really think about the honeymoon connotations until you brought it up.
Yeah. All right, so after that sweet edit to like the rolling cart in the hotel, Kim's kind of voicing what we're thinking here. I was thinking more like a Motel 6 of the nail salon, and Jimmy has a really excellent point here. Well, the hotel has more witnesses, to kind of deter the cartel and Lalo from acting upon them. So it's really good logic there, and that's it's kind of, if you're gonna hide, you might as well hide in style. And also kind of a thing we've done in season 4 Breaking Bad, where again. Well, I guess more season 5 in this case, where again there's a first half of season 5, however you want to break it down, folks. The fact is, threat to kind of our main stationary set. So we go to a hotel.
Exactly. And you know what? These kids have been working so hard. They've been working extended jobs. They've been furthering their careers. They deserve to spend a little bit of that capital, Dragon. They deserve to splurge just a little bit, don't you think?
Very true. I full-heartedly agree. So Kim's brushing as she tends to do. Again, if there's one stamp of the Wexler-McGill relationship, it's brushing your teeth. They believe in oral hygiene.
Oh my God, I know that toothbrushing thing is totally, especially in season 4 or season 5.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, if there's only like one signifier for like the couple's relationship, the two of them in that bathroom. My God. Anyway, so, good stuff though. So
I keep going back to the rental house with the two sinks.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So Kim is brushing. Meanwhile, Jimmy is contemplating the position that he has put Kim into with kind of the marriage and the deal, and kind of looping her into everything, essentially. Putting her in the game, and he's really kind of blaming himself, and he voices this to Kim in a question. He asks very point blank, and again, I love that they're kind of framing the big kind of bubbling issues of the season out in the last episode. Really great writing there, where Jimmy's asking, "Am I bad for you?" He's asking him if he's bad for her. And again, like this to me seems to be, I think the runner of this episode is, again, I love the arc of like kind of the second half onward within the season, where it's basically from like episodes. Basically, like I guess six to now, if you want to look at it that way. 6 to now, it's been kind of the kind of we're sanding away Jimmy McGill and just leaving Saul Goodman.
Oh yeah,
it's the thing I would praise season 5 for the most, because there's so many things to praise season 5 for. But I just love that kind of connective tissue of the arc. And
it's interesting though, Dragon. I would argue that episodes 8, 9, and 10 kind of brought us on this arc where Kim is almost more like Saul Goodman and Jimmy is almost, because of how shell-shocked he is, I would argue he's almost kind of reverted back to the Jimmy McGill, which makes like season 6 all the more fascinating for where we're going to go with it.
Exactly, and it's kind of where I was kind of leaning towards here, is that basically I would argue within this episode you see the last vestiges of Jimmy McGill almost kind of like reborn, in that I would argue that this episode is Saul Goodman, and of course, like the last vestiges of Jimmy McGill are linked to what he thinks of as Kim Wexler. He thinks Kim Wexler is in fact Jimmy McGill. Like that's the simple Jimmy McGill. And again, what he thinks is like the innocence of Kim Wexler being also the innocence of Jimmy McGill. That brings it out of him, and that's basically, it's like the conscience of Jimmy McGill is attached to Kim Wexler, and that's why he's asking, "Am I bad for you?" Basically, if Kim can survive this, maybe a part of him can survive in a sense, of course. Basically, Saul Goodman has no intention of stopping his future from this point on. He has no intention of stopping, and that kind of gets elaborated on this scene where Kim asks, basically Kim kind of phrases it like, you crossed the line, you're not going to do it again, though. And then they go to bed, and Jimmy does not give her an answer. He says no. He says no, but he's like obviously kind of like haunted by it, and you can read on his face. He's good.
I mean, I think they both kind of know that's bullshit,
Exactly. That's the thing, and it's precisely. I also really like that we're evaluating kind of the season 5 choices through Kim as the theme of the episode with all of that too, where again it's Kim's progression is like through all the choices that have kind of led to this moment and the effect it's had on Kim, which of course is going to rear its head as the episode progresses. Yeah.
All right, so that brings us to our title card. Then after the title card, we cut back to the burned down Polos Hermanos.
Yeah. Oh, one thing before we go full Poyos here, just real quick.
Yeah.
Nacho, there was a really great subtle. There are a lot of really great callbacks in this episode to the series as a whole, but especially this season. But there's one really great nod with Nacho, who again, Jimmy does not have a scene with Nacho at all in this episode. But again, Kim Luxer kind of set Nacho to his fate, I would argue. Kim's little pep talk to Lalo says, "Yeah, I'm going to bring Nacho with me." That's kind of what putting Nacho in his current jam. But also with Jimmy is that in saying you crossed the line. That's the scene that Jimmy and Nacho had in their first episode after the whole Miho affair, where Jimmy says, "I crossed the line, not going to do it again." He said that to Nacho, and we kind of brought it back here. Kind of neat. I don't know.
All right.
Okay, sorry. Go on. Poyos me.
Sorry. Okay, so Mike and Gus having a little meeting at the like I said, the burn down polos. I love the imagery of like the cartoon chickens and the dumped in the garbage can, all scorched. All right.
Yeah.
So Mike kind of giving the rundown on the situation. Go ahead.
I love that Gus basically in this image. I think it's so poignant. We're outside the burn Poyos Hermanos. Is that Gus has been through his own version of season 4 of Breaking Bad, but on the receiving end that Walt was that whole season, where basically you're on your heels and you're trying to get out from under your opponent, kind of the big chess game season. Which of course he's kind of getting a taste for what Walt went through. That, and perhaps if you want to look into it, if you want to read into it, is that's why Gus is so good in that season, because he's been through it in this season.
Sure, yeah.
All right, so Mike reports in about the whole Lalo stuff. Go on.
Yeah, basically that he's going to the safe house in Mexico. He'll be there in a few hours, but there's a wrinkle. He took Varga with him. So Mike is basically pitching that we need to that Varga's up for a promotion, and that they need to they can't communicate with Varga because they're out in the desert, no cell service. So they have to come out with a way for Varga to get out of the compound before the hit goes down. Because, as Gus says so himself, it's a valuable asset to have someone on the inside working both sides and to have that information. Gus doesn't want to give that up easily.
I love the runner that, yet again, Nacho's in the crossfire of a situation just like he was at the end of season 2 in that finale, and Mike is pointing it out yet again. Well, Varga's in the crossfire. What are we gonna do? We gotta take him out. But hey, we have an
finale. Same old.
And Mike being really smart here, figuring that Nacho's probably gonna figure out there's an assassination plot afoot, so we should probably take him out there. And then Frank's like, let's work this to our advantage. We're gonna send some really highly trained assassins out there, but they don't have a man on the inside. Nacho's our man.
Mm-hmm.
Which is not good news for Nacho. So we're at Lalo's Hacienda compound.
Oh my God! Just give us you know what? Everyone's been pitching a Gus Fring spinoff, but Dragon, I'm gonna say something controversial here. I mean, as much as we love Gus Fring, I almost kind of think that, especially in the wake of this season, he's almost a little dull compared to Lalo.
Okay. God, I mean, again, still
compared to Lalo.
I don't know if that's fair, because I mean, again, the Chilean national, that's a big story there, man. I don't know.
All right, but
you're right though that
I'm
Lalo.
Just saying, like Lalo is the type of character where it's like Gus Fring almost works better when he's not the main star. You know what I mean? He works better when he's in the background. I'm saying Lalo would be perfect for a spinoff because this guy is like. He's so charismatic. He's so in the spotlight. Like, everyone gravitates around him naturally. I want a Lalo spinoff, man. I'm petitioning for a Lalo spinoff.
Lalo is very magnetic. He's just so charismatic, so magnetic, and terrifying at the same time. He's literally lit very devilishly constantly. Every time we check in with him, he always gets that devilish lighting. It's great. Okay. So let's see. So we arrive at the compound. We have like a guard woodworking some stuff, and of course he gets a friendly greeting with. I love the window rolls down. He's at Lalo with the Tony Dalton with this perfect grin on his face. And then
That's
guard's
the thing I love so much about Lalo is that he's the ultimate diffuser of tense situations, even though he's the one you should be afraid of.
He's everything to. Basically, it's like what if Tuco had never gotten all had never been just kind of like the mad boxer, or had never just like kind of hooked on the stuff. Perhaps he could have been a Lalo. Just maybe.
And then I love just the guy holding the gun just has like the big belly laugh as soon as he sees Lalo.
Yeah, because how can you not? Even if you're, it's like we all feel Lalo. So the staff, they love Lalo, man. How can you not? So Nacho, of course, he can't make his...
Dragon. What if for season 5 or for season 6 we did a We Love Lalo?
Or the Lalo Lovin' Corner or something.
I think we might have to consider that.
Vita Lalo. Anyway, I don't know. Okay, I don't know. We got discussions for another time. Regardless, so Nacho, he can't make a call because, as said before, you need a landline or a sat phone, basically a little satellite phone. You only get a signal in the desert. He can't make a call, and he's nervous about the situation as a whole because, again, Nacho was only supposed to drop him off by the well. He went the whole way, and that is... So Nacho's as deep into the cartel. He literally goes to the very top of the cartel this episode. You don't get any more in the cartel than... I mean, it's crazy what happens with Nacho this episode. So... Point being, Nacho is on a field trip and he's in his worst nightmare now. Meanwhile, we meet and greet kind of the staff of the Hacienda complex. We meet like Yolanda the cook, Cecilio the gardener. We meet a bunch of his guards like Sierra Miguel, I believe Geraldo, and Raul, etc. A bunch of those guys. He basically says, "Oh, keep them around because they're so pretty, right?
So pretty."
Because they're so pretty, right? It's like, they're okay, but keep them around because they're so pretty, right? Just so fun. Oh, God. So Lalo then intimidates the poor kid, Ciro, I believe. So he intimidates this poor kid, and there's a payoff to this later. This poor kid, like, hey, what are you doing? This thing, get the luggage. Again, charismatic as all get out, but again, if he just looks...
He can turn on a dime, man. He can turn on a dime.
It's the curse of the...
It's like he shoves the kid and, like, swears him out and then just goes right back to, like, oh... welcome, smile. Come on, you're in my house, man. Come on.
That's the Salamanca effect right there. Salamancas, again, they like to be, quote unquote civil, but again, they'll turn on a dime where you think, oh, Tuco's getting Jesse that bag of money and then beats him near to death with it. It's
right.
It's like, hey, Hector, he wants to meet Poppy, but I don't trust Poppy. It's always a turn. You can never win with these Salamancas. Okay, so let's see. So point being, Nacho very uncomfortable. Meanwhile, it's the next morning.
Yeah, Jimmy rolls out of bed. Kim is already dressed and ready to go to work. To get out there and seize the day. But Jimmy, he's kind of taking my own advice. He's like, hey, let's for ulterior motives and what I have in mind. He's basically just pitching like, hey, we're at this resort. Let's have a spa day.
Yeah, spa day, a little hot tub, swim up bar. And by the way,
he's listing off all these things. I'm just like, son of a bitch. I want to do all those things so bad. I want to plan a vacation. It's killing me that I can't plan a vacation.
If this little TV thing doesn't work out for Vince Gilligan and Peter Gould, I think they have a really excellent, I think they have a really excellent track kind of record built in for like advertising just the Albuquerque locations. They could be like the most brilliant like, kind of advertising, kind of like a PR firm for Albuquerque. If you ever think about it, because they sell
honestly, Dragon. I feel like this show in the Breaking Bad universe in general is. It's kind of done for Albuquerque what Lord of the Rings did to New Zealand, if I'm being honest.
It's like the best tourist trap you've ever seen in life, really, when you look at what the Albuquerque verse has done for Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Right.
Seriously, at least in Better Call Saul, at least, when we do locations of Better Call Saul, they're always looking so glamorous, because literally, there's a scene we call back to season 2, here when Kim didn't bring a bathing suit, and basically Jimmy said, we'll just go buy one in the gift shop or something. And again, calling back to when their relationship kind of really started, becoming official boyfriend-girlfriend, way back in season 2, start of it with Switch, when they're doing the whole pool thing. And they're going to that really nice swanky bar where they rip off Ken Wynn's.
Mm-hmm.
That whole thing. So again, I like that kind of. We're calling back so much this episode, folks. I'm sorry, I'm geeking out over it. Anyway, the point being, you're right. So Jimmy is trying to reel her in with kind of the amenities, if you will. So And again, I love how on the level they are with each other here. Kim's asking, so you're trying to keep me here, you're trying to protect me, and again, is there something you're not telling me? Again, Jimmy on the level with her saying, no, we're all up to speed here. I just, I'm worried. Again, with a phone call, he could send somebody. And I love that Kim Wexler, she's, and again, not an anti-Skyler moment, if you will. I'm not trying to put down Skyler any more than we usually do, because again, always feel guilty now, because Vince Gilligan really defends that character. But again, we've been through it already. I won't drudge it up. Again, season 2, not her finest season, regardless. So, Kim won't live in fear, but she's not stupid. That's the thing I love about this. So she's not stupid either. She's going to the courthouse. You have MDC. You have like a bunch of cops at police stations, like down like roughly next door. Mm-hmm. She's no dummy. She's taking a calculated risk, and again, she fits into a routine. Then back to the hotel. She ain't no dummy. She's good.
I like how she just kind of calls Jimmy out, like, you're trying to get me to stay. It's like she instantly knows what he's doing.
Yep. And again, because she's even more and more into the game, she's into the con. She's the Sally Good woman in the making. So Jimmy, so she leaves. Of course, Jimmy's like really worried about her. And of course, what does Jimmy do with his worry? Puts it into a phone and he calls Mike. He calls Mike back and demands an update. No more like dodging his calls, and Mike just hangs up on him. He wants a face-to-face, and he hangs up on him. Okay, that ain't gonna stop Saul Goodman.
It's funny because, Jimmy really in this episode, beyond just trying to contact Mike, he's kind of on the sidelines. It's really interesting. Like I said, all the other characters that orbit around him really have more significant development. He's sort of the one caught in the crossfire when you think about it.
And remember, Tiki, he's still kind of off his game from last episode. I'm sure the situation did not help. And again, I wonder going into season 6, I'm going to assume we're going to start things off and then come back with his mojo with what happens at the end of this episode, but we'll see. All right, so, again, more on that later. So, Kim, meanwhile, so she's in court. She calls the client, giving the good news, like, hey, charges dropped, we're all good there. And again, kind of the runner of this season, good news, and kind of our characters kind of getting one up over someone else, or getting like a little kind of a mini win, really fuels the ego on our characters. Jimmy with all his Howard Hamlin shenanigans, kind of fueling the Saul Goodman choices, and Kim here. Little victory for the pro bono client, and in exchange here, she channels that good news into the drive and the mission going forward, like what she really wants to do, as we're going to find out a little bit later on. So she goes up to Grant, a fellow public defender. Mm-hmm. He's a little bit more of a seasoned public defender, as it were. Roy, I believe, played by Roy Wood Jr., who was, I believe, Peter Gould's wife, I believe, threw his name out there, was really kind of big on this guy, and that's kind of what kind of put him in the running.
Nice. All
right. So basically, this is again another more seasoned PD lawyer. Kim's asking is the long and short of it. A lot of, not a lot of. It's not like a lot of legal jargon, but just kind of the legal so and so of it all. Here's that Kim is asking about getting specific cases that'll make a difference. The real heart cases, as the other PD lawyer calls her out on here, Grant. So basically, she wants the tricky ones. She wants all the tricky cases PD lawyers traditionally do not want. She wants all the heart cases. She doesn't want the ones you can easily plea out. I'll go to trial, man. Which again, knowing this show, going to trial is something we rarely ever do because
she's like the gamer that wants to play the video game on hard mode.
Yes, and again, this sets up kind of the stakes for the next season, where again, if Kim is getting these trial cases, we've never seen a true blue trial in the Albuquerque-verse. We never really have, and that's from the mission statement of the show. And I know we've been in court, and again,
usually was that not a full-blown trial? That's
not real. That's a bar hearing. That's not exactly
okay.
A trial.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. The closest
I think that's about the closest we got, right?
No. The closest we got was the mistrial when Jimmy kind of tanked the case for the mistrial. That's the closest we've ever gotten.
Oh yeah, right, sure.
That's what I'm saying. We've never seen a true blue full on trial so far. Like we've seen him plea out and stuff. That's about as much as we've seen him in the courtroom acting. We haven't really that in the very beginning of the show where he tried to play to a jury. We saw him tank a trial at the very start of the show, and then the mistrial. That's all we've ever. Anyway, I'm drifting off the semantic lane here. Let's get back on point. So. Point being, Kim wants all the tricky cases, like all the egg stuffers from Red Robin's and everything. She wants all the cases he doesn't want, willing to take up to 20 felonies today, which is like music to this guy's ears.
Oh yeah, he can't let that opportunity. He might be suspicious about her motivations, but he can't pass that up.
Oh yeah, and again, Saul Goodman ambition there for her there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's see. So they're on the. I would read into this thing. My logic for why Kim is doing this, and then went outside the whole ego boost, is that I think Kim, in some ways, she's trying to balance out the game that she's now in, like kind of the bad with an overflow of good, which has always been Kim Wexler's kind of Achilles heel. She always wants to overcompensate. She's always trying to overcompensate when something could potentially go bad because she's terrified of the end result, possibly due to like the relationship with her mother and all that sort of stuff that we saw this season. The idea is like she's terrified of like losing a connection, therefore she proposes marriage, and she's like she's never gonna not be there for Jimmy because she's probably lost an important connection in her life, and vice versa. In this case, like I'm involved in some bad stuff, I know some bad stuff, overflow of good, and make sure I'm making a difference for the positive. So that's kind of my theory on kind of where Kim's head's at right now. So go to the PD file and take us through this.
Okay, this is a really good scene just from a symbolism point of view. So basically Grant is sort of, we see essentially a ton of banker boxes. Dragon, I'm going to go off on a work tangent right here. Banker boxes are like the Rolls Royce of boxes. Because we use a lot of boxes at my work, and I gotta tell you, we love to stock up on banker boxes because, I don't know, just something about the construction of them. I'm literally talking about
they have like the mahogany-ish finish, they have that wood finish.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. You don't have to tell me about the monotonous craftsmanship, sir.
Anyways. Alright, so point being, we see Kim in literally a sea of cases, just a sea of, assaults on the other side on the left. All these cases are pending, pretty much. If you really want a bummer, if you really want the heartstrings, juveniles.
Mm-hmm. I imagine those are going to be at the top of her her buffet of PD cases here.
Oh yeah.
So also there's
petty larceny.
There was a really great legal jargon in this scene. There's this really wonderful little term they coined, and I assume it's a real term given that they have Gordon Smith at their disposal at times, and it's probably a real legal phrase here. Burnout cases. I love the burnout cases.
Uh-huh.
But the idea, it's not like a tired lawyer case. Well, I mean, technically it is. Like, here's the thing: it's burnout because you're burning rubber on the way up. Basically, lawyers who get the coveted private firm jobs will be burning rubber and just drop all their cases and leave, and that's why you have an overflow of PD cases that are kind of pending and so on and so forth. And if you think about the course of the series here, Jimmy and Kim have both gotten the cushy private firm gig, and they both have left it behind. So it's kind of fun the way that works. It's kind of a predestined lawyer thing that's going on here.
Sure. So, anyways, my basic read on this scene is it's just kind of like Kim, Dragon. She's rolling around in the dirt. She's she's kind of she's going into the muddy waters, if it were.
Oh yeah.
Muddying the waters.
God bless Carl Pifko for that line. Just for that delivery, muddying the waters.
Anyways. Okay.
Okay, so after that, I'm sorry, are we going anywhere beyond the muddying the waters thing?
No. Just I really like the symbolism at play. Just literally being surrounded by the cases.
Yeah. Okay, well, Wexler's on the case, or 20. Lalo, working on his car with Nacho, and he's...
What do you say?
Well, I said, Wexler is working on her case, or 20.
Oh, I thought you said 420.
No, why? What sense would that...
I don't know, but you said...
Her case, or 20, as in she has like 20 pending.
Yeah, I got you now. I was like, that was like a Freudian thing right there, man.
Anyway.
Like, did he just say 420?
No!
What the hell?
Get your mind...
Sorry.
Mind out of the smoky clouds, friend. Let's get back on topic here. So, Lalo, working on his car...
I've been sober for at least 3 hours, sir.
I'm sorry, for 3 hours. Okay, anyway, so... for a moment, I was going to be so proud. I'm like, wait a minute. Anyway. So, Lalo... working on his car with Nacho, and he's prepping him for his meeting with Don Eladio. And I theorized we were going to go here next episode because I saw that money, and when I saw it, that means only one thing, and I love me some Don Eladio, so I was really excited.
Oh, yeah.
So basically, there's a really great line. This episode again, Ariel Levine, she knocked this out of the ballpark. I'm assuming some of this. I know some of this dialogue was. There's a fun line in the PD room we glossed there. I believe was her line. The whole. It was either her line or the actor's line. The whole. It's like backed up like an outhouse at Woodstock. I forget if that was her line or that was the actor's. The point being, some good dialogue there. And anyway, so. Really great line in this scene where it's you just speak the truth in as few words as you can, which is a really great line dealing with the cartel and seeing all the bad stuff that's happened with these Don Eladio scenes in the past where, just give them the truth in as few words as possible. The fewer words, the better. And I love that Lalo is so on Nacho's side in this scene. Like, hey, don't think I don't see you. It's like, hey, and of course, little does he know later on. So Lalo, again, per Kim Wexler's words, he's voicing some trust and support for his men here. His top man, Nacho, the Spider-Man, if you were, the guy jumping. Top man. And of course, Nacho's asking the very poignant question: if he doesn't like me, there's a moment of pause, and there's a lot. Tony Dalton so wonderful.
Oh my God, this is one of my favorite Lalo deliveries here.
How did he say it?
Yeah, you'll be fine.
So what's great about it? I love it's like. It could turn out like that Max Archuleta guy, but don't worry. Again, last time you had like a meet and greet that didn't go so well with Eladio, and again it seemed like Eladio's such a pleasant guy. It's like the scene seemed to be going well, and then a little kind of Godfather-like pause. Like if there were oranges in the scene, they would have been there. Death. All right, so Nacho then gets a call, and he takes it in the bathroom. Mm-hmm. I love how persnickety Lalo is about his hacienda. He's like, don't get grease everywhere, man. Like he tries to run a neat house.
Oh my God! And like I said, that's one of the great things about Lalo is just the fact that he's kind of like the inverse of Fring. Like he's very chaotic, but he's got the same sort of like attention to detail that Fring has.
Where Fring, attention to detail on the surface, where box cutter on the inside. All right, let's see. So, okay, so basically we get the call, and again, it's from like a guy with a sat phone, which basically is Fring's crew. So one of Fring's crew, the crew of top assassins, basically the type of guys, again, not the same guys for reasons we're going to find out later in the episode, but type of guys that Fring hired to kill Bolsa in Breaking Bad season 4 Breaking Bad. Yeah, called the hit on Bolsa. So same type of guys. So basically, the hit squad wants Nacho to unlock the gate at 3 a.m.
Oh, God.
Then leave and get out of there. So 3 a.m. then leave. So Nacho does have like a way out, but again, Nacho.
And importantly, because I've seen people bring this up. They say, open it, get out, get the hell away from there. So there's no getaway vehicle waiting for Nacho, because that's one thing I've heard in speculation. It's like, oh, is Nacho, is he safe with Fring's men? I don't think so. I think he's on his own.
Yeah, he is on it. I mean, he's running out of there, like no question. Like, I mean, if those guys had a car, maybe I don't even think those guys. If they had a car, they parked it like miles and miles away. Trust me. Like,
right.
I mean, best case, Nacho hotwired their car. If he found it, probably he's walking all the way home, I guess. So Nacho, again, per kind of the per the Mr. Varga of it all, again, kind of the ethics built into Nacho Varga here. He's voicing concern for the bystanders and the staff, mainly the old folks. You're going to do this clean, and of course, it's a question: was it no answer? Did the signal go out? So.
Right.
I think they probably hung up on. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's see. Also, by the way, one thing I wanted to note the Nacho scene. I love that Nacho when he asks if he doesn't like me. A part of it's Nacho afraid for his skin, but I also think it's a part of Nacho wondering if I tank the interview and I don't stay here by all intents and purposes. Is there any way I can get out of here? And of course, like the moment of the pregnant pause of "do not screw this up." Tells him, okay, I gotta. Not only do I have to ace this thing, I can't screw up, and I can't halfway it, man, or else I'm a goner. Okay, so oh boy, here's a scene. Start us off here,
Dragon. I am so happy with how this Howard Hamlin stuff like wrapped up this season, man. I am over the moon thrilled that Howard Hamlin played such a small but pivotal role in this season, and it seems like he's going to go back in the limelight next season. we've been backing the right horse, I think.
I love the cyclical kind of direction we're taking with the Howard Hamlin story, given how the series started with Howard Hamlin, how it's presumably going to end with Hamlin. I love where we're heading in that direction. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Howard Hamlin, he is, he's oh goodness. So Howard Hamlin's leading. He's basically kind of leading his new associates through the courthouse. Kind of basically showing off a little bit to the associates. Okay, so do this and this and he runs into Kim, just kind of getting in the same elevator. Again, these chance encounters in elevators in this courthouse, man. I'll tell you. So
it's one of the few like gimmies that the writers have. Honestly, it's like they run into each other in the elevator. Why not?
It is. I mean, they built up credit because last time it was not by accident with Jimmy D.A. Erickson. You know, it was like, they got trapped in the elevator per Jimmy's design. So,
sure.
So they earned that gimme. So. Let's see. So he runs into Kim, and they're exchanging some pleasantries, genuine pleasantries here. Like he's introducing her to the associates, and basically, Kim Wester, one of the HHM. I love how proud he's like an HHM alumni, and now working with working for a bank at Mesa Verde and Schweiker and Coakley. So then Kim just she could have just let it lie. She could have, but she corrected him. Said, she updates the introduction. Say, I'm not with Schweiker and Coakley anymore. We're banking, and then she's. As of yesterday, then she's off, and again, the as of yesterday really, it's not just like the gobsmack, like, wait, what? And they're like, and yesterday, what? So, as the elevator doors begin to close, Hamlin sticks his arm out, he chase him. Like, when the second this happens, like, okay, things are gonna get good, or things are gonna get really good now. So,
God bless Patrick Fabian, man.
Oh yes, God bless the Fabian. So, the fabulous Fabian, folks. Okay, so
Fabes.
Actually, people have called them like PFABs.
Oh God, I don't know if I like that.
I'm just saying it's like a cute, like once in a while, like they give like they call them PFABs. It's just there.
I like the Fabes.
Oh, I like the Fabes. It's good. Oh, you know what? Before I forget about it, because I keep forgetting about it for like 9 episodes so far, I'm going to get in there at least one of these.
Okay.
One of my favorite behind-the-scenes details of this season is when they were shooting it. Bob Odenkirk, I believe a couple of them, I want to say Odenkirk was the main one who was behind this. He rented out a house in Albuquerque when they were shooting, and basically a whole bunch of the actors, some of them like while they were in town, I presume shooting their episodes, they would all live in the house together. So like you would have for a time, you'd have Bob Odenkirk, Patrick Fabian, and even some of the film crew, like Josh Fadem, when he would stop by, and then you had like Ray Seahorn. They would all kind of live under the same roof, and they rehearse like crazy, because that's how you get a show like this, folks. They rehearse like crazy in their off time, and their off time is like they're all living under the same roof during the production of this, and that's why they're so darn good, man.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite little detail at the making of it. All right, so getting back. Okay, little aside. So we go into like a deserted courtroom. So Howard is asking, if it's all right. So give me a minute, Kim. Like I don't want to. Well, I guess getting to the abandoned courtroom, he's asking. He learns that Kim is on her own again. She left, Schweiker and Coakley and Mesa Verde. Can I ask why? I know
it's a personal question, but can I ask why? Yeah, Howard, you're right. It is a personal question.
Spare me a minute, please, which then leads to the big courtroom confrontation. How does this go, Tiki?
Oh, God. So, basically, Howard kind of just lays out essentially everything that Jimmy's been doing. He says, last time I tried to get something off my chest, didn't really go so well, but I think before you make any big changes in your life, something about Jimmy you ought to hear.
Of course, the last face-off was season 4 with the whole just like fair. Let's talk about fair. That whole conversation.
God, right.
Did not go well for him. It was the last scene they had together.
That's true.
All right.
So basically, to make a long story short, Howard just kind of like recaps everything that's gone down. The strippers, the
bowling ball,
the bowling balls.
What's funny though?
Bowling balls.
I love, and this is what I love about Fabian. I love about this scene. He's bringing up a detail I never really considered, that someone could have been hurt. He does have a point there. Like Jimmy doesn't know if someone's walking around, but then again, because we know we haven't seen it yet, but according to the background, like he is married because he always wears that wedding ring. Just never showed his wife, so we don't know. We don't fully. The point being, we don't know. It's question. Is that Hamlin just trying to make it sound worse than it is, or does he actually?
I definitely think a big part of it is Hamlin trying to make it sound worse than it is. Yeah.
Of course, I love how dramatic he makes it. This is this Fabian doing.
Because let's face it, we've all been in a position where we want to prove our point. We have to kind of elaborate the severity of the situation on our side a little bit. That's a very relatable thing.
And I love Fabian's work in the drama here, which is, and after some hemming, basically the big, like, lightning shoots from my fingertips, though that of it all here, which is like, and after some hemming and hawing, he all but confessed.
Love how that just comes down to hemming and hawing.
Yes, that's great. So then we have Kim asking, so that's it? And then we have the big moment. Oh, God. I love this scene so much.
Dragon, my dad and I were cracking up so much. I swear to God, we must have missed a minute of dialogue.
This is why this show deserves an Emmy. For moments like we think it's going to go one way, and then, nope. Complete left, and I love it. But Big Kim just doubles over laughing practically in Howard Hamlin's face, just like bowling balls and prostitutes. Like, oh God, oh geez, he was laughing.
Oh, you had me going there, Howard. You had me going.
Then Howard's just like, okay, laugh if you must, but they're
laugh. I love that phrase. Laugh if you must.
That's what I'm saying. I love how like hemming and hawing and like that. He's getting so dramatic with it. I love it. Which again gives credence to what Kim is going to say later with the scene with Jimmy. That's what we're kind of building up. Like, as much as we love him, yeah, he's a little high horsey here. He's a little. It's kind of the Platinum Knight, if it were. All right, so let's see. So there's no reason someone in their right mind would behave like this. He's not in control of himself, and it makes no sense. It's basically what Howard's saying here is he's making valid points. That Jimmy is going through something. He hasn't grieved properly, and it's manifesting itself essentially in these Saul Goodman shenanigans. So again, I want to be clear. And here's a wonderful thing about the show. Howard's not a bad guy. He's not. He's
that's why we love Hamlin. Yes. That's why Dragon, I think we've always loved Hamlin just because of the charisma of Fabian, the Hamlin to go blue of it all. It was kind of love at first sight with this guy and us. But I think we can agree that the moment where we really fell for him as a character and not just a charismatic personality as a whole, like, I called you Charlie Hustle.
Yeah.
And ever since that season 1 finale, man, I forget if that was episode 9 or 10 of season 1. It was late into season 1.
Well, he said they had the Charlie Hustle scene in 10, but he finds out that Hamlin was in his corner technically in 9. But pretty much, you got it right. The 10's when we have the heart-to-heart.
Yeah. So ever since then, I've always viewed Hamlin as like the most morally good character on this show. Whether it fits Jimmy's needs or not, that's the only question. Yeah.
Again, he's been just trying nothing but helping him again, and kind of trying to make it up for the guilt he has over Chuck. So it's been, anyway. So now he's calling out Kim, saying, this makes no sense to dropping Mesa Verde. That makes no sense, and Jimmy had something to do with that. And now this is where Kim is just now calling him out, saying, how insulting that is. The saying that I can be so easily manipulated, essentially, and these were my decisions. Of course, the big telltale mark of the season: decisions are key. And again, the big kind of revelation in this episode is that it's been less. I mean, don't get me wrong, Jimmy's decisions have been pivotal, but also Kim's. It's kind of been Kim's decisions more so by the end, given what the whole season turned out to be. It was Kim's season when we thought it was Jimmy's season.
Totally.
That's the really.
If you think about it, Jimmy really hasn't evolved that much in this season, and I don't say that as a criticism, because, like I said, I really think. I mean, like, if anything, he's kind of regressed because of the shootout. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, he's been given perspective, and basically, I think it's so odd against the ultimate bait and switch, and why we love this show. Again, they keep you on the hook, and you think, okay, we know, he's becoming Saul Goodman more and more as the episode's going, and I'm not refuting any of those points. Again, he still is on the path of becoming Saul Goodman, but again, it's really so.
Well, he is literally Saul Goodman.
You know what I mean? Yes, he's Saul Goodman. You're right. Yes, you can't take away any of the. He's making legit progress in kind of the on paper route. But again, we go to this point, and then we realize, okay, he's literally back where he started. Where again, now he's on the Saul Goodman path again. It's like, okay, now he's becoming Saul Goodman. Where it's like, well, that's the thing. He was, but he also wasn't. It's like he's back to where he started. And that's what's genius about all this. Man, more on that later. We're jumping so much great stuff to jump ahead to, but my point being, these are all Kim's decisions. And I know Jimmy, I know Jimmy, and you're wrong. And then what does Hamlin say?
Hamlin has the ultimate mic drops moment of the season, Dragon. He says, "You know who really knew Jimmy? Chuck."
Oh yeah.
I love that. I love that. Love it so much. I love that our boy Hamlin got the mic drop moment of the season, Dragon. Love it.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Hamlin didn't get much to do this season, but it was all substance, baby. It was all substance all the time.
It was, and it was. All right. So, let's see. So, Jimmy, speaking of mic drops and drop, more like mic dropping by, and vice versa. So, Jimmy found
transition there, Dragon.
so Jimmy found Mike's house.
Mm-hmm.
Again, he's resourceful. I buy it. Found Mike's house, and he demands to talk with him. And he goes, "You didn't think I was going to find your secret bat cave?
God.
So, this is great. Just Bob Oger going this really angry rant outside Mike's house, and basically, it's like almost channeling inner Farmigan.
Dragon, as soon as I saw how this was playing out, with him pounding on the windows and everything, I knew exactly what was going to happen. I was like, oh, it's going to pan over and Mike's going to be there. I even called the groceries, Dragon. I told my dad, I was like, oh, Mike's going to be there, groceries in hand. And sure enough, it's so in character. It's like Jimmy's just trying to play Mission Impossible and Mike's just getting back from a grocery run.
Kind of funny. Every time Mike's going into his house, usually he has a bag of like groceries and or stuff that he bought. When he bought the carbon paper way back in season 2.
Call, Dragon. It's very on brand with Mike.
Yeah. So, but yes, I love it. Like kind of Bob Uecker kind of channeling his inner Vera Farmiga. It's like you're knocking like a madman on the door, then you go around the house, and you're like a nut. You got to get in there. It's like. So anyways, then absolutely what you said there, perfectly pan over. We reveal behind him like Mike is just there outside the car. Of course, that's why he's not open the door, giving any sort of response. He's not there. And of course, Jonathan Banks, very terrifying. Imagine when it was like any paparazzi hound or was like knocking on Jonathan Banks or get a similar reception, like, hey. God. What are you doing? What the heck are you doing? And if we're doing like Jimmy, you're thinking he has the high ground.
Now I just picture like a paparazzi person like following Jonathan Banks, and he's just like, "Hey, stop it!"
Well, it's funny again. Jonathan Banks is
no, stop it. Go home. All right, sir. Just walks away with their tail tucked between their legs.
Something really funny on those commentaries way back in the first season. Jonathan Banks and they did the public service announcement. Don't throw the pizzas on the poor people's in that poor lady's house who owns
right.
Because I hope it's stopped by now. I'm saying way back when the show started, people were still throwing pizzas on that poor lady's roof where they basically got the exterior for the Walter White house. And basically, Jonathan Banks is like, if they try on Jonathan Banks' house, they're going to get buckshot in the butt. They're going to it's going to shoot them. Basically, that sort of threat. Like anyone who comes around Jonathan Banks' house, like paparazzi or just people trying to do like a pizza throw or something, they're going to be thrown. Not so warm welcome. He joked, obviously, but still, Jonathan Banks, he'll punch you in the heart, and I believe it. So. Anyways, and Mike's just like, yeah, and of course Jimmy thinks he's on the high ground, pulling the whole like when Mike dropped by at his place. Not a fan of the surprise pop-in. I can't imagine why.
Mm-hmm.
Got a great callback there, and of course, level. Anyways, and then he basically grabs Jimmy, throws him in the house practically, and Jimmy's like, okay. He's gonna do like, okay, don't beat me up. So it's like just level with me here. Inside now, he's level with me. Jimmy thanks him for saving his life, but he needs to be on. I need to be in the loop, man. Keep me in the loop. I'm in the game. I get it. We're just like, I gotta know what's going on. Essentially, the character thing with Jimmy is, and again, with Jimmy having lost his mojo, that Jimmy can't. Jimmy can't. He can't participate. Jimmy needs to know all the variables. He can't. He can't be at full strength without all the variables. He needs. That's what he needs. He can't con properly without the variables. That's what I'm trying to say there. All right, so which again is very accurate and very true. So it's like stop blowing me off with the whole "this is not the end of the story" crap. Give me specifics. Jonathan, I love the way it delivers this. You're asking for information you can't have.
I love how they use that in the teaser for this episode too. That was a great teaser line.
My favorite thing about this is that he's not saying it flatly like Mike usually does. He's just like
no. Yeah, it's very, very much like no, I don't have that information really either. Really,
it's some information you can't have. Just saying it so sarcastically to him, practically. So I love it. All right, let's see. So, of course, Jimmy then pulls on the heartstrings. He pulls on the heartstrings of the old Ermine trout. You know, like, if anything happens to her, you know, and of course, like, the only element, as far as he's concerned at this point, the only element of Jimmy McGill that is still alive, that he can live with, like, if she lives, a part of the better part of myself survives, I can't keep on doing this. I can't do this. And Mike sees the practical thing of, I'm going to need this guy for the next season, essentially for the future, so I can't have him crumbling to pieces, but also a little bit of pity, a little bit of respect for their desert experience. They're fated to be in each other's lives all the way up to the end of Breaking Bad. So Mike takes pity on Jimmy and gives him the Lalo news, which is...
which is, that Lalo, by this time tomorrow, Lalo's not going to be a problem. He's going to be taken care of. He's going to go on a nice trip to Belize, if you will.
Okay, now... I love that reference, but again, we haven't dropped Belize yet, so we can't say that.
I know we haven't. I know. I'm just saying.
You're right, though. I love that, though. It's an excellent pull. All right. So Lalo Salamanca is going to die. This time tomorrow morning, he's done. And Jimmy's very relieved by this. So the bond continues to be forged.
Dragon, what I love about this is it totally, like, I think our expectation was going to be that Jimmy... that Lalo was going to get offed and that Jimmy wasn't going to know about it. And that's why the threat of Lalo was always going to be over Jimmy's head, even after Lalo was dead. But now the complete opposite happened, where Jimmy assumes Lalo's dead when he's not. I love it. I love how the show just kind of totally pulled the wool over our eyes with that.
That it did. All right. So the bond continues to be forged between the two, and then Mike gives him a detail he didn't really need to give him. Again, this shows a little bit of the bond forming. He says, I need you to leave because I have family coming over. It's like, oh, I love it. And again, he didn't meet Kaylee, but still, it's like, you know what? Again,
oh my God, we're close. We're getting close.
We're so close.
The crazy uncle, Dragon, the crazy uncle.
I know. And if anyone's going to earn the title of crazy uncle, it's going to be Saul Goodman. So we have that, and also, again... he hasn't interacted directly with Kim Wexler, but he has respect for Kim Wexler, though. That was satisfying to me. All right, so then we have one of my other favorites from the Albuquerque verse. Again, there's like a whole litany of if you want to a whole dichotomy of the characters who have broken bad for the analysis point of view, which we're not going to do here because that would take too long. We have at the top of the heap Don Eladio.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Don Eladio is like the godfather of the Breaking Bad verse.
Essentially, yes. It's kind of Godfather meets Scarface, pretty much. He's of the God. I mean, obviously, we literally put Scarface people in the Albuquerque verse. I think the Scarface pair is always assumed. But yes, absolutely. Top of the
I love how Don Eladio is he's so suave and charismatic. I mean, he's very much like Lalo, right? He's got a lot of Lalo in him, where, he's got that suave and charismatic thing down. He's always sitting by the pool. It's always a party at Don Eladio's place until it's not.
So what's really clever about this episode is basically we see how Salud would have went without the death.
Exactly.
That's pretty much what this whole episode is, given especially our big capper line. Again, this is Salud. If without all the death and the big revenge plot, this is just what an average kind of big meeting at Eladio's place is. And of course, I love Stephen Bauer. A really good actor. I've seen him pop up in a number of things. I think still his best performance is probably here in the Albuquerque verse. And you're right, he's so jovial, but in this episode especially, he's so childlike, and that's my favorite thing about Eladio. The man's so full of life, and he's so giddy about getting. It's always Christmas at Don Eladio's place. That's my favorite thing about it. This episode is the most Christmassy Don Eladio interaction you're ever going to have. So, initially...
Christmas special we need to pitch. Christmas at Don Eladio's.
A white Christmas at Don Eladio. Of course, the white Christmas is more like a cocaine sort of thing, but yes. All right. So, let's see. So, initially, Don lies basking in Fring's wrapped money, which, remember, we're going all the way back to Sabrosito, kids, and I love Sabrosito. So, this is like going all the way back to the original wound between Fring and Salamanca. Well, not the original wound was much more iconic, but the second wound of the of Fring and Salamanca here, the whole, like, Sabrosito, that whole run. Anyway, so point being, he loves the wrap money instead of the rubber band money. It's like, it looks great, but he loves it wrapped, but it's a little less. And of course, Bolsa, I love how Bolsa takes up for Fring, because he really likes how Fring operates. So Bolsa's taking up for Fring. You're saying, oh, he's had a run of bad luck, and that's over. Bad luck. So enter Lalo, the symbol of the bad luck that Fring has had, walks in on cue. And my God, Lalo, he charms the place. Like, again, if Don Eladio had a son or a surrogate son, it would be Lalo.
Charlie Manson.
just sees a guy with a beard and everything. Charlie Manson. He does look like Charlie Manson. He does.
Oh God, Dragon, and that's like one of the great things about Lalo is that he can pick up. You know, he can pick up just something like I don't even know if he knows that guy. You know what I mean?
Probably
but he can just see one detail, pick up on it, and just instantly make friends. And I'm like literally like looking at a screenshot of him and the Charlie Manson guy, and the Charlie Manson guy's just got a shit-eating grin on his face about just the charisma of Lalo Salamanca here.
So he charms the whole salute party, as it were. He's hitting on the girls. He's like, again, pretty much we're mirroring the shots of when we kind of pan through the salute. Again, excellent direction. You're kind of mirroring the whole salute episode there. We're kind of like seeing Jesse Pinkman being kind of warmed up by the crowd and everything. That whole thing. So Eladio and basically Eladio and Lalo become thick as thieves. With the most lively of the Salamanca bunch. And again, Steve Bowers is so fantastic here. So he's just being charming here, saying, "Oh, you paid those gringos to get out of there? He does the machine gun thing, which foreshadows the climax of the episode. I thought you were going, nah. So, oh no, I got my pound of flesh with it. Don't you worry. So then Eladio, like a kid at Christmas here, and Lalo is Santa Claus, just very playfully says, "Oh, I found this car. I found these car keys. Do you recognize them? Are they yours?" Like, no. He just tosses them to Eladio. He just tosses it to Don. This shows you the chutzpah on Lalo here. He's like tosses the keys at Don Eladio, like he's the kid at Christmas, like he's the uncle coming at Christmas or something. So, of course, Don Eladio loves glorious, shiny things and money. That's the thing. Eladio, he loves, well, more, I'll get to that later. Point being, Don Eladio, he's a kid at Christmas here. He sees the Magnum PI car. Big old red car, exactly like the Magnum PI car. Oh, like Magnum PI.
Oh, God.
And then it gets even better, is where Stephen Bowers like, "Oh, I love it when we bring him back. Even if it's for one episode, I'll take it gleefully. We don't need a lot of audio, just a little taste." And says, "Hey, why don't you check the trunk?" He says, "Don Eladio, the trunk's in the front on this car." Says, yes, we should call it a frunk.
God, I love that.
It's not God, it's not French, but I'll take it. I love it. Okay, so there's something in the trunk. Opens it up, and we have a gift wrapped box of money.
Oh my God! That's a way to get straight to the cartel's heart, right?
Yep, this is the man.
It's like they always say, just don't buy gifts, just give cash, because cash is the gift that makes the world go round.
But putting it in a nice iconic car doesn't hurt either. So again, he loves the showmanship of Lalo Salamanca. Like, again, here's the thing: Eladi's all about the showmanship. Like Fring, like he shows up Sabrosita, which is a nice little gesture, but then shows it up like the big old things of rat money and a T-shirt. That showmanship that Fring is. This is like next level showmanship. Essentially, this is like the revenge plot for the whole Sabrosito affair. But like now, Fring is made to look like the little Sabrosito guy. It's like, oh, it's wonderful. So then he introduces Nacho.
The whole time, Juan Bolsa's just watching like, son of a bitch, these two are getting along like two peas in a pod.
Yeah. And again, look, I hesitate to say this because I think they're still saying I'm just not seeing, but the only gripe, and it's a very, very minimal gripe, does not hurt the season at all, but the only gripe I've ever had, and again, bear in mind, I've always had kind of a clean record there because I've never had a gripe up until this point, so this is the only reason I bring it up. I still understand the whole bag man, like Bolsa sending the guys to get the money. I'm still not 100% on that. I think it makes sense. I'm just not seeing it. You know.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
I'll easily give it a pass. Let me make that perfectly clear. I'll easily give it a pass. I think it's on me. I'm just saying. That's the only thing I can't. It's the only thing I can't read on Bolsa, like that whole sending people to kill Mike. Because again, it's like he doesn't know the whole Gus Fring going against Lalo thing. The point being semantics. Let's move on. So introduces Nacho to Don Eladio, and of course we had a little Tuco gag, like, "Oh, Tuco, is there something wrong with you?" It's just. It's like, oh, there's something wrong up here. Oh, God. So Eladio he's making fast friends with Notches, exactly what he did with Pinkman, just kind of taking him aside, trying to wine and dine him.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta tell you, T, I was thinking throughout the scene.
There's so many parallels between this episode and Salute.
I'm thinking in this scene, Tiki, like, what it must be like to be Michael Mando in this scene, just like playing off against Don Eladio from Breaking Bad. Like, imagine what it feels like to be in his shoes in this. I'm in Salute right now, and this is where Gus Fring was traumatized. This is where he got his revenge. This is the man he got his revenge on. Look at all this. I'm in the same set. I'm by the pool. He must be going out of his mind during this scene. So speaking of which, so we have a sit down with these two guys. You want to take us through this scene?
You know what, Dragon, if you wouldn't mind?
Yeah, sure, no problem. All right. Okay, so Nacho and Eladio, they're kind of toasting some drinks, and the two are talking about, basically, Eladio's kind of sizing up Nacho here, asking what his business plans are, because the ID, he's like the top earner for the Salamancas right now, kind of moving up in the business, again, up for a promotion. You gotta remember, the wonderful thing about Don Eladio is that he is all about, he's less the drugs, it's less all that, he's all about the business, the money. He's all about, he doesn't care how it's made so long as the money comes into him and he can profit off. So as the money goes all the way up to the pyramid, he doesn't care necessarily how it's made. We have Nacho being, but it's like all about the respect and the money. That's what Eladio's whole thing is. And Nacho, he's very straightforward about things here. I think he respects that as well. So the plan is, basically, Nacho's plan is to sell as much product as he's willing to send down, and basically break into some new territory, which would be biker gangs. And this is a callback to not necessarily Salute, but all the way back to the original Fring's flashback. Basically, Eladio has no respect for bikers or meth, which basically Fring and Max had to sell them on. So that's what that's why Eladio hates bikers. So all that. Anyway, so initially, Eladio like scoffing and disapproving, like, if you
bikers,
you're going to gringo bikers. You're gonna start a war here. You're gonna start a war because bikers they're tough. We've seen a little bit of bikers in with the last season, I believe, with the doghouse. Anyway, so Nacho then lays out his strategy, and this is where he won some points over Eladio here. He says, no, we're not going to go to war with the bikers. We're going to divide the bikers. We're going to use the bikers, divide their rank. Like, they're divided right now. We're going to turn them against each other, then pick them off one by one. And not just strategy here. Again, I think he's picking up some stuff from Gus Fring with this sort of strategy, I'd like to think.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And oddly enough, Eladio picks up that you're a businessman, aren't you? So then he's asking the big question, the big make-or-break question. What do you want, Nacho Varga? Which leads to, Nacho, the solution in these scenes, as Lalo said, he's kind of breaking the rules a little because it's not a short answer, but the honest answer is, well, respect. That is the short answer. Then he elaborates. So respect. He wants respect. He wants to make his own decisions. He wants to go his own way. He doesn't want to, essentially look over his
shoulder. Yeah.
Yeah. And essentially, it's kind of what he wants now, too. He wants to, Nacho. This is what I always believe what carried Nacho through this scene, what kind of allowed him to be calm, cool, and collected during this, that this is what Nacho always wanted from the start. He imagined he wanted respect and status, and now more than ever, he wants to not look over his shoulder and not be so fearful. So it's truth, but under different circumstances. Like, I don't want to think anyone's playing me, and I don't want to look over my shoulder. Then you're in the wrong business. The two toast, Eladio is impressed, and of course we cap it off with salute.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, so next up, Jimmy is lying in bed listening to the the ambient sounds outside, worrying about Kim. She comes back. Jimmy says that she basically relays the news that his guy said that Lalo Salamaca is going to be toast by this time tomorrow. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, like, he didn't necessarily say toast, but
well, yeah, I know. I'm not quoting him word by word here.
No, you're right. I'm just saying Kim doesn't know the whole murder aspect, but you're absolutely right, though. But it's like she sees the bags are packed. It's kind of the thing. She walks in the scene, sees the bags are packed, and like basically they're all good to go, return home. Like no fears from Lalo. Yeah, which is a big foreshadow.
Exactly.
So this is great news from Kim's perspective. But Jimmy is then he's been stewing there. He's been waiting. He's been thinking of the future though, and then probably
Dragon. This whole time, I was totally expecting. I was totally expecting Jimmy to essentially. I know it's not Old Yeller. What's the dog movie where it's essentially like, "Go on, get out of here."
I know exactly what you're talking about. I do not.
You know exactly what I'm talking about, right?
I know. Yeah, I know the whole.
I was totally expecting Jimmy to be like, "I'm bad for you, Kim." Like,
basically, the boy and his dog story, pretty much.
Yeah.
Get on, get out, go. But yeah, so this is he's probably like it's probably going to be a next time as Jimmy knows, and this is and he's kind of free. I love these. Jimmy's not necessarily he's not breaking it off per se, but you can feel the tone in the room, and Kim picks up on this. Where it's like it's been a rough ride. Kim, don't you want to just go home? And she's like basically using what he said the earlier cells that he laid out for me. Yeah, we can get some room service. They have like a really nice Angus beef sort of fancy burger. And basically, in essence, I think this is a wonderful reverse of the end of episode 6. That's kind of what this whole thing is, where it's Kim senses that this is leading towards a Wexler v. Goodman situation. So she echoes kind of the earlier cells, basically kind of like starve off the serious conversation that she does not want to have. She has like, okay, I don't want to, because we got married, man. That was supposed to be the fix. We can't. I don't want him breaking things off or separating to protect me. I don't want that. So I'm going to show him that this way is going to work. So it kind of leads into these. So basically, where Jimmy in the past has kind of manipulated her within the relationship, now it's kind of the shoes on the other foot, one could argue.
Mm-hmm.
So they're staying the night. I mean, you say it yourself. We paid for the whole room, and let's order some room service, get the fancy burger. Jimmy, I'm hungry, and there's nothing to eat at home. That line just says it all. And, oh god! So the two have a very unconventional but really nice honeymoon. Very unconventional. Like, it's like one of those. Oh, I have to tell him your romance story, that sort of thing. It's like one of those. Like, oh, how did these two crazy kids meet, and how was the honeymoon? Like, it's one of those stories. God. So it's a late night candlelit dinner.
Dragon, hold on. I love the description of this. Served with golden brown shoestring potatoes and truffle salt. I love the truffle salt, Dragon. I don't even know what the fuck truffle salt is, Dragon, but that got to the foodie in me. Anyways.
All right, so candlelit dinner. Again, I love that it's a really nice dinner, and again, over a burger though. But again, a fancy burger.
A fancy burger, right, with truffle salt, Dragon.
That's what I'm saying. Truffle salt. It's a big burger. That's what I'm saying. I love that. Again, it's just the perfect speed form. Where again, like they commemorate them starting a business with a doghouse dinner. That's how they commemorate things. But it's like they don't need much, but still, it's like the fanciest version of mundane that you need. And that's that's Better Call Saul in a nutshell. It's perfect level of mundane, but again, it's romanticized and made epic and made tension filled. It's like it's Better Call Saul. We dress up the mundane, but epically so.
Right.
All right, so we have this candlelit dinner, and basically, Kim tells Jimmy about her little encounter with a certain Howard Hamlin.
Oh God!
So initially, we get Jimmy's tense reaction, and he makes the point. But that was before we, the bowling ball and the prostitutes. That was before we were married, before we had the deal. Before all that, and I expected. So then things take an unexpected direction for Jimmy, and I feel this is where, again, the whole episode, the whole season kind of gets channeled slowly into here, where it's like, Kim is full of surprises versus for us and Jimmy McGill. Like, we, the audience, and Jimmy are all on the same ride in the scene. We did not see the scene going this way, and I love it. So Howard, basically Kim says, Howard told me all that for my own good, in quotes, like, for my own good. And then this is the wonderful thing here. She's right, but she's also a little deluded, and I love it. Where again, Howard Ham made valid points, but still, Kim is not wrong at one bit in the scene though. It's always about him.
Mm-hmm.
The guy's in love with himself, which that's why we love him though. It's like, yes, he is he sees himself as the Platinum Knight, the White Knight, and White Shine. I call him a Platinum Knight because the whole the hair thing. That's why I call him the Platinum Knight.
Sure.
But and the other thing, he was trying to help, but yes, he was trying to be the hero of the story, of the McGill story. It's basically Howard Hamlin. He's trying to be a knight when in reality he's a pawn in the McGill story. That in the McGill chess game of it all. That's what he is. He's a pawn who thinks he wants to be a knight, and he's not. In this story, he'll never be a knight. So with the whole Bobby Fischer thing we were laying out earlier, I guess. Anyway, so then we have then Slipping Kimmy comes to play, and goodness, comes to play. So then we begin the common thing with these two, and they're going back to one of my favorite episodes of Better Call Saul, Expenses, with this, where again the two of them are kind of spitballing kind of schemes and scams and ideas. Like, what's the third? Everything comes in threes, Jimmy. You did the bowling balls, you did the bowling balls, the prostitutes. We got to do something next. What next? She's spitballing some Hamlin schemes, like his hair. We target his hair, so we slip him a Mickey and go in at night and we shave his head with some clippers. And again, like in Expenses, Jimmy just went on and got a little dark with it, and that kind of scared Kim off. And now we're kind of reversing things a little bit. Where now Jimmy's a little like, oh man, she's going the Mickey things. I'm saying, oh yeah, that's a little dark. Oh my God,
it is.
And then Jimmy's trying to lighten it up a little bit, like Nair. He's put in the country club. He kind of lives in. I think he's calling his house like a country club. I think that's kind of what he's. The point being, like, he switched the shampoo in the bottle of Nair. It's an old gag, but it'll work. And then Kim's saying, okay, no, we dump a whole bunch of chlorine in his pool so it gets in it. They bleach his hair and his eyebrows. And then we go from the ors. As the ors and the ideas continue, we then go to in the midst of a post-coital brainstorming session, which again, romantic for him. I got this is going to make me sound corny as all get out here, but you know what? I think it's so respectable how conversation and connection is as stimulating as sex for Saul Goodman. I think that's really kind of nice. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so really nice, like under the sheets, sort of like the way we shot this too. Like go from like the slippers and the robes to like under the sheets, or like it's really well shot here. So, I'm sorry. Do you want to taste some of this?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so we never do it, but and is this where she pitches Sandpiper, right?
She basically name drops the episode after the whole. We should make him do something really, really terrible, something really bad. And of course, Jimmy says, "Hey, what? We should." Like his waiter put
something unforgivable, if you will.
Yeah, something unforgivable here. So something unforgivable. Oh, we never do it, but Hamlin does something terrible, like what murders a waiter for putting butter on his cauliflower. Oh, something worse than that. Okay, now take it away. Now she's giving the fix.
All right, so you know what that means for the Sandpiper case? A big class action suit. It could take the whole thing.
Misconduct, specifically misconduct, like a misappropriation of funds, like something really bad.
I love how she's specifically reveling in Cliff Maine. Cliff Maine's hair would be on fire.
I laughed. So I knew you were going to appreciate that. Oh God, it's funny.
Name drop.
I kid you not, I was watching something today. I was watching the Goldbergs, and there was a Ed Begley Jr. reference.
Oh God, really?
I was saying it wasn't in the episode, but they name dropped, and which was even better. It was like, oh God, we've name dropped. I've seen him.
That is kind of even better, honestly.
I was saying because it wasn't just like a Ed Begley Jr. character. Because he's in Young Sheldon from time to time, but it's like, oh God, like no, we.
The one thing that makes me want to watch Young
Sheldon. Wallace Shawn, right?
Yeah, I know.
Good too.
Every time I walk by and I see Wallace Shawn, I'm like, son of a bitch, that show.
Seriously, T, the adults in that show, nothing against the kid, I'm just saying all the players are really good in that show, especially Annie Potts. I love Annie Potts in that show. Anyway, sorry.
I don't doubt it. That's a damn good cast. Anyways, so I hate it. I hate it.
Okay, anyway, point being, I
hate the existence of that show. But
regardless, just the name drop of the man himself is even better. So, okay, so...
right.
Okay, point being misconduct. She's pitching misconduct, which would get him in trouble, and of course would force Davis and Maine and Vice and HHM combined, because they're doing like a tag team effort on this. Sandpiper case would have to settle, and of course, remember Jimmy tried this in season 3, as kind of Jimmy referenced it. Tried that, didn't work, and Kim says, "Oh, you went about it the wrong way," which implies that Kim has an even better, potentially more devious plan.
I love how this is like, that's the great moral, like that's a great, like not moral gray area, but just a great gray area in general with this is exactly how much has Kim thought about this? How much of her mental energy has gone into this? It's like, has she been planning this for like, is this a long con of hers?
That's the terrifying thing, because it really, a part of it really felt it was like an in the moment sort of thing. I want to say she was planning this after her encounter with Howard Hamlin. That's what I'd like to think.
Mm-hmm.
That's as much forethought as I really gave her. But technically, I mean, I guess Jimmy burned his bridge with the old folks, so she could have known up to season 3. But that's the thing. I don't know.
Sure.
Anyway, so of course, settlement means a lot of money. Essentially, the old folk, and again, she's not without a heart, folks. Let's make that clear. Because the old folks, they wouldn't have to. Again, it's pretty much what Jimmy's. Basically, Jimmy didn't fully mean this, but Kim does fully mean this. It's like, well, yeah, we're doing this for the old folks in part, where they wouldn't have to suffer. They would suffer like a little bit of a loss financially, a very minor loss, but again, they'd be able to spend their money while they're still around instead of them waiting out for a lot of them to keel over, which is horrifying.
Yeah, it makes sense too. It makes all the sense in the world for me.
So Kim is still invested in the old folks here, but again, big part of the scam, and what Jimmy's whole part of the scam was last time. Big payday. Even at this point in time, how much do they stand to gain, Tiki?
Oh God, I'm sorry, Drake. You're putting me on the
spot.
Okay,
simple figure.
Isn't it like $2 million or something?
$2 million. You're right.
Okay, thank you. I had to guess.
Don't worry, simple figures. Basically, the old folks get I believe like 8.5. The Commonwealth gets 8.5. They get $2 million. I'm allergic to math, so let's just avoid that. So,
God, it's the reason I haven't finished college, folks.
Okay, well now we've made it sad, but let's keep going. So. Point being, 20% of the common fund gives nets them $2 million. I believe we'll spell out the figures later on, but essentially that's what they're circling here. So, again, Kim Wexler is like basically what she does, and this is why I was gobsmacked in the scene with Tiki. Kim Wexler has essentially charted the course for the creation of Saul Goodman with all the trappings. And this essentially, in my theorizing, is like, oh my God, because this whole season, again, we get to the finish line, this thing, and we're so blown away by the season. It's like, wait a minute, we didn't get The Office.
Right, exactly.
And I'm realizing in this moment, like, oh God, we didn't get The Office, but Kim has a plan to get said office and her own practice. If they get that, basically she's charted a whole potential course for the entrapments and the Cadillac.
Oh, Dragon. At this point, I mean, it's like I think we can probably like talk about this now, so we don't have to go over it in spec because we're going pretty long. At this point, I am fully convinced that Kim Wexler, and of course, this show, it's like, now that I put it out in the universe, this is not going to happen because the show is good at that. But now I am fully convinced that Kim Wexler is the brains behind the Saul Goodman operation. Fully convinced of that. Now, is she in the Breaking Bad timeline? I don't know. I still think that's very much on the table, especially after this season. But we'll see. We'll see.
We will. All right. Okay, so back to the thick of the action.
Oh my God, just Lalo spinoff, please.
Again, just give Fring a miniseries, give Lalo a spinoff. I'll meet you there.
Saying,
but still, just either a miniseries or a document, like an in-universe documentary on like Gus Fring revealed.
That would be good.
I've always pitched that, either Gus Perfect World miniseries.
I'm honestly kind of surprised something like that hasn't happened as like a bonus feature.
Again, the last thing we begin the Chilean national. That's the last story, man. That's the one we need with Fring. We need to know what the heck he did to become anyway. So remember, that's why he survived. That's why he was. Anyway, I'm sorry, I'm drifting off. Let's get back to 3 a.m. So it's almost 3 a.m. Nacho is he's prepping his little foil trick, essentially to unlock the lock. You slip the foil in the locks. You know, it's a whole ball of wax. Anyway, so he makes his way to the gate, but Lalo. Taken in the night, Lalo kind of a spirit.
Dragon, this is a great thing about a villain, man. I love a villain that's relatable, and I totally relate to this whole idea of like he gets his best thinking done at night, when nobody's around. Like, oh God, I can totally relate to that as a night owl, and it's scary being able to relate to the villain. I love that. I love that uneasiness that puts in me.
So Lalo invites Nacho to join him by the very devilish fire. And by the way, I like that the fire's been a runner.
To quote one Miguel Prada, but you gotta have a beer, S.A.
Good. There's a crossover you want to see in said spin-off.
Oh, that is a
Prado.
crossover I want to see.
Prado
very much so.
When Prado meets Lalo.
Oh, God.
When Prado met Lalo.
I'm not altogether convinced they're different characters, Dragon.
Okay, anyway, so... Okay, now what was all right. So fun. There's always been a fun runner with the fire in this scene here. I don't know if it's intentional or not. It could have been just happy accident. But again, remember what really bonded him and Hector together was setting that motel on fire, and of course the hotel on fire, and the origin of the bell, and of course. He burned down the travel wire place. Again, when in a pinch, he set the place on fire. And again, burned down Pollos Hermanos. Again, there's a fire runner, and again, we kind of bring it visually to the surface in this intense scene where, yet again, devilishly lit.
Right.
Okay, so let's see. So, okay, you're halfway to becoming a Salamanca, which is the last thing Nacho wants to hear, that he's that deep into becoming a Salamanca, which is not good. Lalo doesn't sleep, which is worse news for Nacho. Like, how the heck am I going to get past this guy now? When it's like, that Lalo, he sleeps 1 or 2 hours, which, again, not good news for Nacho. He only sleeps up to 1 or 2 hours, and he gets his ideas when everyone else is asleep, which is terrifying, but a really great line. Mm-hmm. And again, what's funny, though? I love there's kind of a parallel between Nacho and Lalo here, is that one longs for comfort and security, and the other one thrives in the situation. Like, Lalo would thrive in the situation that Nacho's in, because, again, like, you only have, 1 or 2 hours sleep, because they're both essentially operating on little sleep and, again, a lot on their minds, but Lalo's embracing it where Nacho is running away from it, literally running away from it. It's kind of interesting when you look at the two characters in that sense. Mm-hmm. All right. So, they're just kind of chilling out, and Nacho, then, they're pouring a drink, and then Nacho comes up with an excuse. He cleverly devises a ruse to escape here, to kind of, he excuses himself to go back into the house, and, you have anything stronger?
Well, first of all, I like how his initial plan is probably to get Lalo to go back in the house. And so when Lalo sends him back in for the stronger drink, I like how he has to, think on his feet even more so. You know what I mean? It's almost kind of like double layers of thinking on your feet.
I didn't think about that, and that's a great catch. I didn't think about that. So Nacho, point being, after his initial plan kind of fails there, he then goes back in the house to get something stronger with the decanter bottle. So he then essentially Nacho starts a small fire in the kitchen. I think it's like sherry or something like a kitchen kind of liquid. I don't know. I think the point being is he puts a whole bunch of something like an oil or a sherry into a pan, and basically lets it overheat, and cook, and basically it's going to cause a whole bunch of smoke and everything. So, the fire distracts Lalo. He thinks the guys are smoking in the house or something. Again, I love how anal retentive he is. I'd be with him on this. I don't want that sort of smoke in my house. What are you doing? Anyway, so he's I'm gonna kill those guys. And again, not even thinking any foul play from Nacho, because he had blinders on because of Kim Wexler. Look at the damage Kim Wexler has done to Lalo this episode. Technically, so Nacho, he makes a break for the gate. He uses the foil to pick the lock open, and we have the hit squad waiting outside, right on the dock, man, right on.
Oh man, it's so intimidating.
So then Nacho again, very intimidating, and again, it's so cool. This is the last thing Bolsa saw in Breaking Bad, something like this, and we get to kind of really spin the scene with these guys, which I thought was really cool. So Nacho's run for his life, quite literally. As Lalo then is chewing out Ciro, and he's like, I just love how semantic, I love how mundane this is. No, don't blame anyone else. Just don't lie to me. Just tell me, you guys. He's like, no, I have a lighter now. I don't even need to use the oven. He thinks they were smoking. It was caused the fire and everything. So as he's getting into this really mundane kind of boss chewing out Ciro conversation, Lalo, corner of his eye, spots the gunman, spots one of the hitmen, and it's so sad. He uses this poor kid as a shield.
Yeah.
Lalo is a survivor, kids. He really is. Again, it's exactly what you said. The fring analogy is perfect. Again,
as soon as this shit goes down, Dragon, I'm convinced that he knows these people are going to be casualties, and he's not okay with it, but he knows that's what's going to have to happen in order for him to survive this.
Well, remember, throughout the scene, he's seeing dead people on the ground. He's not really batting an eye at it because again, it's in the thick of it right now. So he grabs the gun from one of his guys on the ground there. one of his guards, I guess. And of course, first thing he does, though, we can't glaze over this, kind of a little Watchmen nod. Oh, it's not Watchmen nod, but it's a little, point being, we haven't seen Watchmen. There's a horrifying scene in that, too. He grabs the
You know what? It is kind of, I would say it's maybe a Watchmen nod. It did call to mind Watchmen.
Yeah, well, the point being, grabs like this boiling thing of oil or fat or cooking shit or whatever it is, and he throws it in the one gunman's face. And importantly, this guy's not killed, because this is the guy from later, so he's knocked out. So this guy's knocked out at the moment, but again, horribly disfigured, but knocked out. Meanwhile, the other gunman's attack is basically his gun went off. Of course, they're drawing a lot of attention. They know he's in the kitchen. As Nacho gave him the tip, too. He's in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. And he ran. So the gunmen are then... a lot of gunfire attracts the other man. Nacho's crawling. Lalo's crawling his way out of there. Can
I just say Tony Dalton is like the most spry crawler I've ever seen.
He is, and the story behind it, they rehearsed that scene like crazy. Like they carved it out of like a foam or something, a foam core. And they rehearsed the scene. And
also, Dragon. Also, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, essentially, like they refurbished it.
I'm geeking out over the details in this scene.
Like Peter Gould and Tony Dalton, they both tested this thing out, like crawling through the thing. It's fun. Like some shots, like Peter Gould, like crawling through the thing. It's kind of fun.
So I love the moment where Lalo, he goes to close the hatch and then he hesitates and he leaves it open.
Yeah. Again, that's where he got his big light bulb moment. Wait a minute.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, for me,
this guy's got a diabolical mind, man.
But speaking of said diabolical mind, so again, like he's crawling through his awesome little kind of lever in the wall secret tunnel exit to the outside of the compound. Of course Lalo has a tunnel. I love this character. It's like, I mean, is it a buy? Who cares? It's awesome. It's an escape route. It makes sense. It's awesome. Of course he has a tunnel.
Compound, after all. So,
yes.
Literally the reason why he's here is because he's paranoid. So why not have that extra precaution in place,
That's what I'm saying. It's like, I was like thrown, like, oh my god, he has a tunnel. This is awesome. Like, why does he have a tunnel? I mean, it makes sense. I mean, it's out there. But
it kind of reminded me of, oh god.
Great Escape?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, obviously, it reminded me of a lot of things. It's got kind of a Shawshank feel as well.
Oh, yeah, sure.
But also, Bad Times at the El Royale as well.
Hey!
Yeah.
Go. Yeah, a little bit of that, but of course, another Albuquerque-verse feeling movie, that one.
Of course.
All right. So,
by the way, folks, if you're jonesing for some Albuquerque-verse, check out Bad Times at the El Royale. It's obviously not connected to the Albuquerque verse, but it's very Albuquerque verse. It's got a feeling like that, right, Dragon?
Feels like it also has. It feels a lot like the Albuquerque verse. Like Drew Goddard in another life, he could have directed some Breaking Bad or some Better Call Saul, kids.
Honestly, I'm honestly surprised he's never directed in the Albuquerque verse.
Well, we got a season left, so never say. We got a season left, never say never. I just want Andrew Stanton to come back. Here's the thing: it's less him directing. I want him to write an episode. That's what I really want. But anyway, I'm pie in the sky dreaming. Let's get back on point. So we're outside. Lalo, of course. Lalo closes the hatch and he's going back. And I love this. The score. Dave Porter's score has always been good. It's always been great. This episode, it's at a whole nother level. The score that Dave Porter does for this episode, like when Lalo goes back in the comp, like, okay, now it's on. I love the score there. And I love how we juxtapose Lalo going in there, taking care of business. We're not quite at the cutback yet, but this whole sequence, in essence, is what I'm getting at. We're going to like the intense Dave Porter score and everything to eventually kind of the little more mundane, but still metaphorically epic kind of stuff going on. Anyways, two of Fring's men, they go down the tunnel. One guy kind of keeping guard out there. The four men that kind of entered the place. We're following this. They follow the blood-soaked truck. Because basically Lalo's limping, and he was like, I believe, like caught by a ricochet or something in the heat of the action, or something. Either that or the bullet slowed by when he used the kid as a shield. One of the two things. Point being, like he's not fatally wounded, just like hitting a leg or something.
Yeah.
So they're following a blood trail Lalo's left behind. Lalo shoots the standing guard and then grabs his rifle, his machine gun, and basically cleverly, oh, I love this shot, dude. He cleverly angles it almost like a Lethal Looney Tune plot, almost. You know, it's like a lethal Looney Tune. Like it's like what if Bugs Bunny when he kind of like got one over and Elmer Fudd was a little bit more of a lethal kind of turnout. It's kind of one of those things.
Right,
so
right.
just angles going. Again, there's a lot of rehearsal as well as getting this just right here. And again, Tony Dalton and the thing like they built up a mock up. Anyway, so he turns a rifle and basically I saw it was so darn clever. It's Albuquerque versus Proper. It's like it's getting back to the whole remote control, like kind of a machine gun in the trunk from the end of Breaking Bad sort of thing.
It is kind of like that, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's the unconventional ways of killing people, like ATM machines, using all sorts of ways to kill people in Albuquerque, turtle bombs, everything. Just he cleverly angles the gun like they're fishing a barrel. It's genius. It's unconventional, but that's Lalo. All right, so again, and this is a great cut. This is what I was hyping up to. Like we go from shooting the crap out of those guys to Jimmy washing his face, feeling refreshed, in a good place because he thinks Lalo's dead right now. What little does he know?
Oh yeah.
My troubles are over. Oh boy. So we're at a now they have like a little Sunday bar they kind of brought up from room service. I love this Sunday bar, man. It looks so good. This is my inner foodie coming out here. So all the ice cream options here, man. I'm a Cold Stone fanatic, and I know it's not cold.
I'm not really too into ice cream, man. I got to admit that's not one of the things that I'm a foodie about.
Well, mind you, I'm a creature of habit with ice cream, but I appreciate the options and the kind of pizzazz. So anyway, point being, like I'm a creature of habit, but I appreciate the Cold Stone, and I'll shout those guys out.
I did have some really good ice cream at the Harry Potter World at Universal last time I was there.
I believe
that. Anyways.
Okay. All right, point being, we have a Sunday bar here, and like Jimmy says, I'll have a little of everything, but leave out the mint chip, and this is a really clever little reference.
Oh, I love that callback. Yeah.
The ice cream he had when he met Lalo and his cartel trouble started was mint chip, and as Kim put it back.
Oh yeah.
Really nice little call. So Kim, I love the Kansas City Royals shirt, which again maybe a little foreshadow where Kim's going. I don't know.
Sure.
Maybe. Anyway, so point being, they're eating ice cream together. Really nice little romantic picture here, and this is where again I love as physical and violent as the other scene was. We're like emotionally ratcheting things up in a sense here. Where again, this is like the big kind of the booming. I think people are more invested in this than they are the Lalo in a sense.
In a sense, yes, because obviously the Lalo thing is like more cataclysmic, but this is a personal cataclysm, man.
Exactly. All right, so as the two eat, Kim is asking, what would you do with the money? And of course, Jimmy says, well, our money. Again, I love that Jimmy's all about sharing the money, sharing the wealth, like again, like the two of them, like partners, co-conspirators, married. So Kim's plan, is hire Steph. She has like a whole plan like how she would start her own practice.
Dragon, that's exactly why I think she's had this thing in her mind for more than a day. Honestly, it's just the detail that she goes into with it.
It's a fair point. Again, remember, she's been cultivating these guys for a while, and I don't know. I think you're right, but at the same time, I think she's built these relationships, and I think it's like these are the first people she would think of in hiring. So, like, hire Steph away from Schweiker and Coca. I love how mix-matched it is. I love how it's like pulling all the best people from her experiences up to this point. Like Steph from Schweiker and Coakley, Bruce from HHM, Viola. Of course, we love Viola.
Gotta have Viola.
Really good on Prodigal Son. Anyway, so Viola and
I've heard.
Yeah, I know. I keep going on about it. So we open the smallest office in the courthouse, and we have open a pro bono practice, which is a really nice plan. Basically, give the average Joe the representation only millionaires can afford. Basically, give them all the Kevin Wachtel experience.
I love this idea, Dragon. I love this idea. I love where Kim's coming from.
Yep. And while we're talking spin-offs, I'll remind you there was a show called The Practice, and if we're looking for a reboot or kind of something of the like, starring a certain Kim Wexler, assuming she makes things out of things non-bullet scathed, just saying, Ray Seahorn needs work too, kids. Anyway, so Jimmy suggests buying. He was thinking maybe buying a house, like the house they were at earlier in the season. That's because again, that's his expectation of Kim Wexler via Jimmy McGill. It's like, hey, we'll build a little house together. We're married.
Right.
go for the
White
house.
picket fence.
Yeah, white picket fence. And Jimmy's saying, well, then essentially says, well, we could do both, which is true. They could do both. And again, back to your thing you were throwing out there early in the season, like, happy ending. A little bit of, home life of Saul Goodman. You never know. So, again, $2 million, but that's not happening.
Wouldn't it be twisted if Saul was the one who was afraid of her in the home life situation?
It would be, but I mean, I get it. The HT of it all suggests that things aren't going to go well in the marriage. I don't know.
Well, I mean, that just like with the HT of it all, that just goes to show that like the love of her maybe goes away with her humanity. I don't know.
Yeah,
just throwing stones at the wall here.
True. All right, so let's see. So basically, again, they have $2 million. There's a lot they could do with $2 million, and like starting their own practices and buying a house, and it's interesting that Jimmy isn't even thinking about The Office in this scene. Which again, Jimmy's all about The Office. So again, again, you're right. Jimmy McGill's reared his head yet again, and I believe by the end of the scene, I'd argue we've sanded him away completely, but I've been wrong before. So we'll see what happens. So. But that's not happening. And again, this to me is like the final temptation, the final choice of the season, left a little ambiguous. Because Peter Gould saying, again, I believe him after seeing how this season turned out, things might not turn out the way like we've spelled them out here. So I'm sure they're going to probably turn out this way, but again, not the way we're expecting. I've smartened up that much, folks. So, it's not like Kim. Basically, Jimmy's giving her all the reasons why this might not be a good idea, why they're not doing it. Like, look, it's not a bar trick, Kim. This is like scorched earth we're talking about here. It's gonna hurt Howard really bad.
And this is, she basically makes the argument like it's a career setback
for one lawyer, for the benefit of a whole bunch of other people who are in need of good lawyers.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, to get. Especially, again, we've hyped up how big, and again, I love how much we're hyping this up, too. Like, we're hyping up just to get the lawyers of HHM to run for the exit. This is going to have to be something unforgivable.
Oh, yeah.
And Tiki, this is what I was thinking while I was watching the episode. I wonder if you had this, too. So this happened to me when we were doing Bates Motel, and occasionally and many times on Better Call Saul. We're so entrenched in the episode, we get to the end of it, and you're watching the clock, like, oh god, what's like all the big stuff?
Totally.
Minutes, and I was thinking like it was such a bold choice when they were flirting this idea in the earlier scene before the Lalo stuff happened. I knew we were going to run over this episode. It was like it's such a bold choice not to show. Like for a moment, I was wondering, are we going to? Before we cut back to Law, I was like, are we going to cram in this whole Howard Hamlin something unforgivable thing the last like 10 minutes of the episode? And we didn't. And that's such a bold, respectable choice not to show it, but to really talk it up and instead of like cramming into the finale.
Well, I mean, it's got to be the tea. It's like you said, Dragon, all of season 6 can't just be this Howard Hamlin scheme.
Yeah.
Because, and we don't even know if the Howard Hamlin scheme is going to play out the way that we're thinking it will.
Exactly.
But it's certainly a tease, and it definitely gets our boy Hamlin in the picture, and that's what gets me excited, is that Hamlin is going to, like you said, he's going to kind of come full circle around to once again be a major player, and Fabian's going to earn that star billing, man.
Yep. All right, so let's see. So then, Jimmy McGill's kind of ethical side is coming out here. Like, Howard Hamlin, like, he might not ever be able to practice law again. He doesn't deserve that. Again, him speaking in defense of Howard Hamlin after all the stuff.
I love that. I love how full circle that is.
He's being the ethicist in the room here, and Kim Wexler as the Sally Goodwoman of it all here. Again, she's kind of the Saul Goodman temptation. Like, she's tempting him now. Mm-hmm. She's I would argue, snuffing out Jimmy McGill. She's snuffing, and she's sanding away the last remnants of Jimmy McGill. We'll see. And then this one's up with the facial shots here. Kim Wexler's facial reactions, he's kind of like zeroing from Jimmy's perspective, looking at her and just like working her magic here. There's their absolute magic here. It's like Jimmy's saying, we couldn't do that. You didn't deserve that. Just look at her face and like we couldn't pull it off anyway. See her face in disbelief, like yeah, we could totally pull it off.
Yeah, we could. We're pros here.
We could, but still. And then she makes the career setback point, like one lawyer to help a lot of people. And again, I love those facial reactions of Kim Wexler. Again, it's super. It's like that moment in the season where she found the Kevin Walktel copyright thing. She looked at the camera. It's pretty much like how we ended the episode. We ended that scene. So Kim doing this, it's not you. and he's not telling her like, this is like, he's not fully being like Ham on the earlier scene, but he's laying out like this is exactly the toll it's going to take on you. He's like, it's not you. You would not be okay with this. Not not in the cold light of day. That's the line, man. Not in the cold light of day could you live with this. And then she hits him with it, man. Again, the episode could have ended here. Where it's like,
it could have. It could have. I'm not going to knock it against the episode at all. Certainly not, because I love the Lalo of it all that we do end with. But I love how full circle. That's the word of the day, folks. How full circle the finger bang is, Dragon. The pow pow pow. Yeah. God, it's so good. It's oh my God, Vince Gilligan and crew and all the just everyone who laid this groundwork to get to this point. It's masterful storytelling.
Again, it's just her response, wouldn't I? So Slippin' Kimmy is off the chain, and again, she's Jimmy is kind of gobsmacked in this moment. Like the presence of Jimmy McGill might not be there anymore for him. And again, if Kim Wexler is like full Slippin' Kimmy, it's all good in it now, man. Sally Goodwoman, the full circle Swiss egg scene, as Peter Gould would put it. And again, he directed the episode, so I'm going to use that. I'm going to take a shower so I don't. This is what really is so clever, Tiki. I love this so much. I'm going to take a shower so I don't have to do it in the morning, which is a callback to the bag man, which is what Jimmy did, saying like she's fully in the game doing it, man. She intends on following through with this, at least in her mind right now. There's your link up. With the link up and the payoff to the very start, the very end of last season, which queued everything up for this season. Like, Kim, you're kidding, right? And then pew pew. Mm-hmm. It's the finger guns pew pew you just said there, and then she's her own Saul Goodman, and that scares and frees Jimmy McGill from like the last constraints, the last vestiges he had, and potentially creates Saul Goodman, or at least will start the capital Saul Goodman stuff. We're gonna have to wait till next season to find out. And again, while all of this is going on, what do you think? It could have ended there. I would have been satisfied if it ended there. The full circular, quality of all that. We then have a ... that cannot be missed.
All right. Dragon, I just want to point out we're like at an hour 45 here, so let's try and wrap things up really pretty quickly.
Well, we have like one scene left, so okay.
Yeah, I know. I just like we spent a lot of time.
Well, we did most of our specs, so I don't think we're going to be doing most of that. Okay, we're almost there. Okay, so we see the carnage of the hacienda, like the oil. Then we have the oil burn survivors crawling for dear life, and then Lalo catches up to them. So like he's kind of questioning, like, who hired you? He says, I know who hired you. He's about to say, I don't know who hired me directly. There's a middleman. Like, I know the middleman. I know who hired
yeah, as soon as he says middleman, oh boy.
You're going to tell him the job's done. And of course, he gives him like the satellite phone. Of course, he killed him. He says, I'm going to help you. He's like, obviously, he killed him. That guy's not making the barbecue anytime soon. So we then see a dead Yolanda, the woman from earlier.
Oh God, yeah.
And again, like Lalo, he walks off. This is I think the most brilliant sound design bit of
the sound design it's perfect. It's chef's kiss.
Absolute, or Swiss egg chef kiss, you name it.
Whatever. So, yeah.
I love. By the way, when he sees the glasses when he's interrogating that guy again, he knows Nacho is also behind him, so he's blaming Nacho. There's no iffy ground. Like, Nacho, where did you go? I was so worried. None of that's happening. He knows that Nacho, again, for the whole episode, he knows the other side, but he knows that Nacho just did something unforgivable. That's what you are, Mr. Varga. So then we have what I call the monster walk away, like he's Frankenstein walking away, man. Like he's limping away, like a Jason. If you want to use the slasher equivalent, he's like Jason from Friday the 13th walking away right now, with the look on his face. And you hear the Greys walking on the gravel, and they have the sound effect. He's walking on the gravel, limping away. With a determined look on his face, he's going to get even. He's going to get revenge. And then with the sound design so wonderfully, it turns to like a stomping gravel. Like it's like getting like all ratchet up. It's feel like really got eek almost. Like yes, oh God, and that's how the season ends. Like everyone thinks they're safe, and they're like Jimmy's going through his own thing right now. Like how am I going to deal with this? And then little does he know, Lalo's coming back to Albuquerque, kids. All right, and that's the end.
All right, Dragon. Like you said, we don't really have a lot of time for final thoughts here. So, we'll do final thoughts, but not any spec with Lalo really quick.
I mean, not much with Lalo, honestly. For me, it's just I think it's okay. I think Hold on one second. I think I'm. Nothing that really sucks. We'll save it when we do speculation. I got nothing major.
Okay. All right, so just final thoughts from me, Dragon. It's just perfection. It's like Better Call Saul is like it's like the dictionary textbook definition of a show that just gets better and better and better. Like, seasons 1 through 3 were kind of like the Chuck arc. We really needed all that personal context, but then season 4 ratcheted up things even further, and then finally season 5. It's just it's so on the money. It's so full circle with all the storytelling, and God damn it, of course I'm getting the hiccups right as I'm doing my final thoughts. I swear to God, this happens every time.
Well, would you like to call our lawyer while you reformulate?
No, I'm good. It's just perfection, man. It's the crime epic of our day. That's what I've been saying. I'm terrified of this wait, Dragon. I'm terrified of this wait. I'm not looking forward to this wait at all.
They did announce when they're expected to come back. They're expected to come back fall of next year. Ideally, if everything.
That's kind of what I figured. I figured fall. Yeah. Hopefully.
Things don't get pushed back any further. It should be fall of next year.
I'm holding my breath that things, in fact, don't get. But that's a big if right now. That's a big if. So, all right.
Okay, you want to do the call to break these up, or should I just do my final thoughts?
Final thoughts, and then we'll do the call.
Excellent. Okay, final thoughts for me. I'll keep it simple. Very riveting television. Very so structured and well devised. A season finale. This is, folks. I mean, all the choices led to the tension of the great character destiny we have here. Oddly enough, all tied to Lalo at the end of the day. Again, Lalo kind of setting things in the motion, being kind of the big choices, the big moral choices that set Jimmy McGill down this road. And again, in turn, it was Kim Wexler's season the whole time. Big twist, and I love it. It continues to cue up the Breaking Bad set pieces as we expected. Not even a single time jump really, but I'm not complaining, folks. We still have a whole season left, 13 episodes.
Honestly, this season might be the most condensed that we've ever gotten in terms of the span of time.
I think you're right about that too. Yeah, it's again still.
It's what like maybe a week or two.
Now they put me on the spot, but I think so. Yeah,
I'm just doing it in my head right now. I'm kind of piecing it together.
I mean, yeah, probably
like from the time. Let's say from the time that Jimmy gets picked up by the cartel from the first time to the finale.
I mean, no more
maybe
than
a month. Maybe
at
a
the
month
most 1 month, possibly. Because remember the whole Acker thing. That's the thing. That's the thing.
Oh, that's true. So that did take.
I think safely we could say a month. Okay, I think we could safely say a month.
But you're right. I did forget about the Acker thing.
Yeah. Anyway, the point being, let's say at least a month. All right. So. Getting back, okay, what was I? All right. So, point being, we continue to queue up the Breaking Bad set pieces, but we're still having things that are able to hold themselves up on their own. So it's not like it's not like just purely prequel stuff. Again, we're things with stakes that do also fit really perfectly into the Breaking Bad story as a whole. Always great to see Don Eladio come back. I adore the full circle or kind of the pew pew of it all, again mirroring the exact same pose of it's all good, man. And basically, you were giving Jimmy a taste of his own medicine from that scene. Again, season 5 was more Kim's season, Saul Goodman's season than we expected, and it was just wonderful every which way they did it. Just again, finest. These are the men and women, the folks you want making television, folks. Just absolute wonderful stuff.
Okay. All right. God damn it! Where's my phone? I'm not kidding you, Dragon. Hold on. Let's see. Is there anything you want to plug really quick?
Well, folks, we got something coming up. We have this.
Dragon, I swear to God, I just had it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, folks, this Sunday, the 26th, April 26th, we're doing a thing ties into something that happened on the 26th. The Edible States of America is a book written by an author, James William Loganson, otherwise known as Captain Logan from Geekvolution. Excellent little book, kind of a.
I thought his first name was Captain.
Really good stuff there, folks. We're very eager to talk about. It's going to be kind of a live extravaganza. The book was kind of made available for the month for free to read. So again, if you've read it, or you can really you can cram in like a 9-hour book with it from the time before this.
We're not doing anything.
Or if you just want to like get a taste of this book and then kind of go in to listen to it, buy kind of the Patreon of it all through his stuff. By all means. Point being, folks, we're talking kind of a food apocalypse, kind of mirrors some certain situations of today. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a fun conversation with the fine folks of Geek Pollution. So that's kind of the next big thing we're doing. So yeah.
All right, Dragon. I got the phone.
Okay. Who gonna call? Time to call Saul. We're gonna call him, man. 505.
Okay.
503.
Okay.
44. 55.
Wrongful eviction, black mold, unwanted exposure to genitalia. What could these things have in common? A bank. I'm Saul Goodman. If you've been duped, swindled, or victimized by Mesa Verde Bank and Trust, you may be entitled to a large cash settlement. Leave a message after the tone, and I'll make sure you get to pick your bone.
All right, take a shot, Dragon.
Remember, kids, when you get that phone call, make it count. Better Call Saul. Saul Goodman Associates is the one-stop shop for all your legal needs.
And with that, we are adjourned.
Could totally be lawyers.
Totally. Hey, Charlie Manson.
Pew pew.